Right now, both of these work fine. No play, no noise, but only one of them is going to last, and this is where people get fooled. An old CV boot doesn't move like it should. It hardens and cracks. Inside, that old grease doesn't protect anymore, it wears the joints. To stop this dry shaft getting ruined, we strip, clean and paint it properly and give it the protection it needs. No hammering, no zip ties. I'll show you DIY solutions that actually work, taking the fear out of this job so you can rebuild it yourself. Let's start from the beginning. Clear the surface rust to avoid contamination later. These are factory CV boot clamps, very easy to undo. Replacing them, chop them off. This CV boot is worn anyway, so we'll cut it open. It feels loose because the grease has thinned out from years of heat cycles. Fresh grease will stiffen it back up and protect it properly again. This is a solid CV joint puller. It's designed to reduce damage thanks to these circular guides that fit over the threads. Put the fork over the joint and choose the circular guide that fits best. Don't worry about it being tight, just pick the one that sits right. Then spin the CV joint nut on until it's flush with the axle end. The clamps need to fit in the shaft groove where the inner boot seals. That's critical for grip. Multiple positions on this tool let us clamp correctly and still keep the bolt flush with the axle end. Bolt it down loosely and check it can still rotate in the groove. Wind the nut in to take up the slack, then lock the bolts down tight. With the setup ready and the ratchet in position, we start winding. If it feels tight like this and the shaft begins to move, it's likely that the circlip has broken free inside. Hold the other end with a breaker bar and continue winding. You'll overcome the resistance and it will start to wind off smoothly. The winding stopped because we reached the end of the circular guide. I swapped to a larger guide and continue winding as far as it would go. With the clamp off, it wouldn't come off by hand. A few taps with a soft mallet released the joint, completely safe and no damage. As predicted, the circlip failed, one half sitting in the shaft groove, the other inside the CV joint. This is a 30-year-old dry shaft. Why does this happen? Let me know what you think in the comments. Because of this, a small section of the splines needed to be carefully filed down to remove any proud edges. I then checked that the CV joint slid smoothly back onto the shaft. Time to remove the tripod cup. The clamps come off the same way. We cut them off. This CV boot is still good. With no cracks, I'll be reusing it. Sliding the cup off reveals the old grease. We strip away as much as possible to see the circlip. Using circlip pliers and a small screwdriver, I remove it. The tripod and boot come away and the joint is now fully dismantled. Remove as much grease as possible from all the components, then use a degreaser to get everything fully cleaned. I used an electric wire brush to bring all the outside parts back to bare metal, ready for paint. Degrease everything once more, then apply rust converter, followed by a coat of red oxide primer, and finish with your top coat. Reassembly consists of fresh grease, a new CV boot, and two different methods of installing the CV boot clamps. Starting with the CV boot, I use the supply grease and apply a light coat inside the boot. A coat of grease goes on the shaft, then the boot is pushed into place. To install a new circlip, measure the shaft diameter and select the closest matching size from this J&R circlip kit. The first 3 digits refer to the shaft diameter and the last 2 indicate the circlip thickness. With the correct circlip selected, angle it on the shaft, holding it in place with your thumb, then use a small screwdriver to lever it fully into position. Position the shaft into the CV joint, tuck the circlip in and push down by hand. Time for grease. I work one roller at a time, pushing grease into the cavity, then moving on to the next one. There are 6 in total. Once all are coated, I brush grease around and rotate the joint. With the fresh grease, it's now nicely tightened and even supports the weight of the shaft. Place the remaining grease on top, spread it evenly around and slide the boot into position on the CV joint groove. 2 ways to clamp a boot. First, the most common type. You'll find these on most kits. I'll demonstrate this on the CV joint, then we'll move on to the alternative type of clamp. which will fit to the tripod end. Wrap the clamp around the CV joint and push the clips that keep it in place. It should be tight enough to hold it, but still be able to rotate. Secure, not loose, just enough to move. When crimping these bands, they're often not perfectly uniform. One side usually pulls in more than the other. To correct this, angle the tool and crimp the side that needs pulling in more, repeating until the band is evenly symmetrical. Then give it one last crimp and push the tail end down. Repeat the process on the other side and crimp it down. If it's not perfect, don't worry, use the same technique to bring it back to uniform. This step is essential, as the clamp needs to be as tight as possible. We can now see that the CV boot flex is much better. For the tripod end, apply a coat of grease on the inside boot and on the shaft. Slide the boot on so it sits in the groove. The tripod only fits on one way. On this one, the indented side faces in. Use a small screwdriver to help install the circlip and make sure it's seated tight. I replaced this one because the original wasn't holding securely. Apply grease to the rollers, making sure it gets in between them. Build up even layers until everything is fully sealed. Coat the inside of the cup with grease, making sure the sliders are properly covered. Then place 2 generous wads of grease inside. Place it onto the tripod rollers and close the boot over it. It should cushion like this. I'm using these self-locking metal zip ties for the tripod end. With the tie pulled on, insert the tool as shown and wind the lever until it can't be pressed any further. Then use the other lever to cut the access, and I usually trim a little further by hand. We repeat the same process for the other clamp. Personally, I prefer the universal clamp method. Which method do you like? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Here's a fully rebuilt Driveshaft you can do yourself. Subscribe for more content like this.